humanity. Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
Welcome to Talking Politics. My name is Robert Press. I'm a reporter. As you can see by my new official New York City press card, I write for the Bronx Post and Parkchester Times. Both like this show as part of Muslim Media Corporation. I also contribute to the Co-op City News, have a blog at www.100%.blogspot.com, along with Facebook pages 100% and What Is Going On in Your Community Board. The views expressed on this show are that of the host, any guests, or anyone who is commenting at the bottom of the screen, and not necessarily those of Muslim Media Corporation. Let's get to the weather report. Today, Friday, will be the last hot day or summer warmth with a high of 77 today. Saturday, the temperature will not break 60, so it'll feel much cooler than it is. Sunday, the temperature will rebound to about 62, and on Monday, a high of 65. One note, October 2024 broke a record for the least amount of rainfall, with only 1/100th of a percentage point of rain being recorded in the New York City area. And remember to set your clocks back a half an hour before you go to sleep tomorrow night, Saturday, as daylight savings time begin. And now on to the world news. The United States has warned on Monday that North Korea's soldiers are moving towards Russia's Western Kursk region, which Ukraine invaded in August, and as Ukrainian forces brace for what they could be an imminent assaults involving the new Korean troops. The Pentagon said that North Korea has sent about 10,000 soldiers to train in eastern Russia, with many moving towards the battlefield in the Kursk region. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte on Monday confirmed that North Korean troops had been deployed to Kursk, as saying it represented a dangerous expansion of the war. Military experts say it's too small a number to affect the overall situation on the broader battlefield, where both sides have deployed hundreds of thousands of soldiers, but potentially enough to help Moscow reclaim the territory that in the Kursk region. It is unclear exactly how many North Korean troops will support Russia's counterattack in the Kursk region. Analysts say that soldiers could be used to direct attacks or to guard areas behind the combat zone, thus freeing up Russian troops for assaults. But their effectiveness in battle is untested and could be hampered by coordination issues with the Russians. President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine said that the North Korean troops were expected to enter the combat operation soon. 2 Ukrainian soldiers fighting in the Kursk area said they have been warned by their commanders that an assault could be imminent. The deputy commander of the Ukraine 61st Mechanical Brigade said by text message, probably in the next few days. On to the Middle East. Egypt's president announced Sunday that his country has proposed a 2-day ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, during which 4 hostages would be released. And there was no immediate response from Israel or Hamas, as the latest talks were expected in Qatar, another key mediator. Talks in pursuit of a longer phase ceasefire have repeatedly stalled. Hamas wants Israeli forces out of Gaza as a precondition, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said they will remain until it destroys Hamas. Those tensions now can see Israel at war with Hamas in Gaza, in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, openly attacking Iran, their backer. For the first time this weekend, Iran's supreme leader on Sunday said Israeli strikes in response to Iran's ballistic missile attack should not be exaggerated nor downplayed, while stopping short of calling for retaliation. Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu says strikes on Iran achieve Israeli goals. In his first public comments, we severely harmed Iran's defense capabilities and its ability to produce missiles that are aimed towards us. Satellite images show damage to two secretive Iranian military bases, one linked to work on nuclear weapons that Western intelligence agencies and nuclear inspectors say was discontinued in 2003. The other is linked to Iran's ballistic missile program. Iran said a civilian had been killed with no details. It earlier said 4 people with the military air defense were killed. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's 85-year-old supreme leader, said it is up to the authorities to determine how to convey the power and will of the Iranian people to the Israeli regime. He would make any final decision on how Iran responds. Now, meanwhile, Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu released a statement on the legislation reiterating the accusations that United Nations relief work and works agency employees are involved in terrorist activities in the region. An investigation by the UN Office of Internal Oversight Services closed in April with some allegations being rebuked and noting that others lack sufficient evidence. However, the agency noted that 9 employees may have been involved in the October 7th terror attack against Israel if evidence was authenticated and corroborated. The UNRWA Commissioner, General Philip Lazani, said those contracts would be terminated. UNRWA is a UN aid organization established in 1949 to provide aid and protection to Palestine refugees in the West Bank, Gaza, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria. Okay, let's get to my prediction on the presidential race. On Tuesday, we won't know Tuesday, November 5th, who's going to be our new president, because my prediction is the race is too close to call. And it may take weeks or even a month, and after several court cases, that we finally know who the president of the United States is. My own theory is that Donald Trump will win the presidency, but like I said, it may take a long while for that to be cleared. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of Trump supporters descended on Midtown Manhattan for a presidential rally this past Sunday afternoon. Supporters in red Magna hats wearing Trump and American flags started lining up outside MSG early morning, hoping for a glimpse of the former president. More than an hour into his remarks, Trump started talking about how we want to thank Eric Adams for the Democratic mayor's dismissal on Saturday of the idea leveled by Trump's former chief of staff that Trump was a fascist. As the lineup of speakers stretched into the night, they made Trump's closing argument to a joyous crowd that brought a concert energy into the venue, where former Fox News host Tucker Carlson reminisced about seeing the Grateful Dead concerts earlier. The comparison of the rally to 1939 Nazi event that was in the old Madison Square Garden drew laughs at some point. Wrestler Hulk Hogan declared that he didn't see any Nazis there, but only hardworking Americans. TV host Dr. Phil said that Trump wasn't a bully because he was speaking the truth. We want people to think for themselves. Trump himself took the stage after nearly 2.5 hours, promising to terminate the Green New Scam, to drill baby drill, and to lower taxes on corporate and ban all sanctuary cities. He thanks the arena's owner, James Dolan. Dolan has been an important supporter of both Mayor Adams, and Donald Trump, who mocked the charges against Adams on Sunday, saying, "We want to thank Eric Adams for going through a hard time with these people," meaning the federal prosecutors, who also have charged the mayor with 5 counts, including wire fraud and bribery. Those lunatics, these people, they weaponized the Justice Department, Trump said, amplifying Adams' earlier suggestions that he was being charged as punishment for criticizing the Biden administration immigration policies. Trump vowed, if elected, that the migrant invasion of our country ends and the restoration of our country begins. As his remarks near the close, Trump spoke to why he returned to his hometown. "It would be such an honor to win New York," he said. "Hasn't been done in decades, hasn't been done in so long," Trump said. "They all say, 'Sir, you're wasting your money.' I don't think so," he said. As for Vice President Kamala Harris, her and former President Donald Trump hopscotched the battleground states on Wednesday as they sought support from electorate already in the full frogs of early voting. Both candidates began their days with rallies in North Carolina, ending it with events in Wisconsin, with Harris adding a stop in between in Pennsylvania, a signal about which states remain most competitive as the election day nears. While Harris offered a message of unity and pledged to be a president for all Americans, Trump sought to amplify a muddled remark from President Biden in which Biden appeared to call Trump supporters garbage. White House aides suggested President Biden's remarks was a verbal slip from the octogenarian president. Mr. Trump and his allies pounced, seeing it as an open to capitalize on their supporters' outrage and to tie Harris with Biden. In Rocky Mount, North Carolina, Trump said Biden, Harris, and her running mate, Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota, has demeaned his supporters, telling a rally crowd that you can't be president if you hate American people, and that's a lot of hatred over there. By then, Harris had already sought to separate herself from President Biden. Let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for, she told reporters as she prepared to board Air Force Two outside Washington. Although she pointed out that Biden had clarified his comments, the vice president made no reference to those comments. Let's go to a little more here. Vice President Kamala Harris called yesterday for Americans to stop pointing fingers at each other and to push past President Joe Biden's comments about former President Donald Trump supporters and garbage. And that includes the remark that was said at the Donald Trump rally by a comedian who tried to be like Don Rickles. Don Rickles, in case you don't know, was a comedian who dealt with the Borscht Belt, which was the Catskills, before we were able to go across the country and across the world. He was a noted comedian who insulted everybody and anybody, from Sammy Davis Jr., who was a very, very well-known black actor. He went after religions. This idiot who was at the Trump rally basically said it on his own, and the Trump administration or the Trump campaign denounced the comments. Now, here's a note from the AOC Playbook. Wednesday at 2 p.m., Second Gentleman Donald Emmeroff will host a Get Out the Vote event with Congresswoman Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez to encourage University of Nevada, Las Vegas students to vote early for President Harris and Governor Walz. Democrats up and down the ballot. This will be Ocasio-Cortez's first time campaigning in Nevada since this election cycle on behalf of Harris. In June, Ocasio-Cortez traveled to the state to campaign for President Joe Biden. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who was a candidate, debated her opponent when she was running as a candidate against then Congressman Joe Crowley 3 times, but has refused to debate any of her challenges since she was elected to Congress. Now, let's hope she didn't lose her shirt in Las Vegas as she was campaigning. On to the Adams-Trump connection. Incumbent Mayor Eric Adams' legal troubles are tarnishing his reputation with voters. Politico reported after release a post-indictment poll showing the mayor underwater as potential challenges outrank him. A majority disapprove of his job performance, even as crime is signature issue, ranks as the leading concern for voters, followed by immigration and the cost of living. The results of a New York Times Sierra College poll released Saturday morning last week spelled further trouble for the Democratic mayor. 3/4 of respondents believe he acted either illegally or unethically, while partly 7% say he did nothing wrong. Republicans are more sympathetic to the centralist mayor. 4 in 10 say he has done something illegal compared to 52% of Democrats. Mayor Adams is going out of his way to defend Donald Trump. I sent a very clear message about comments by some of those people who attended the rally, Adams said, emphasizing the word some. I've been to many rallies, protests, and I've witnessed people stand up at podiums, and I will cringe at some of the things they say. You can't demonize an entire population based on the actions of those who attend, he added. Adams made it clear that he sought to avoid piling on Trump as Trump faces an onslaught of Democratic attacks after a comedian at his Saturday rally labeled Puerto Rico as a floating island of garbage and made other racist remarks, as I said, a la Don Rickles. There was a continuation of Adams' refusal to criticize Trump as the former president moves to embrace Adams, a one-time Republican who dubbed himself as the future of the Democratic Party when he became mayor if elected. Trump has the power to pardon Adams if he is elected. We're going to take a break right now. Let's go to commercial, and I'll come back with some more information about the campaigns, about Proposition 1 and Governor Hochul. Will the Working Families Party stay on the ballot, and what they're saying about their candidate in Congressional District 17. So let me go to a commercial right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official launch of the Bronx Post, your premier source for news and information in the Bronx. As the CEO of Muslim Media Corporation, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Bronx Post, our latest endeavor dedicated to serving the vibrant and diverse community of the Bronx.
Oftentimes, mainstream media portray this county in the most negative way possible, all because Bronx continued to be judged in the 70s and 80s when Bronx was burning. Today, as we enter the small business month of 2024, Muslim Media Corporation is proud to announce the formation and the creation and establishment of a new newspaper that will cover the entire Bronx, continue to highlight the new Bronx, the new realities and the new developments and the new attributes of the Bronx. Some things that are not being covered by, again, our mainstream media. Bronx Post, the first county-wide newspaper to be published by Muslim Media Corporation that has already been publishing Parchester Times.
We aim to be your trusted source for information. We believe in the power of journalism to inform, inspire, and unite communities. With the Bronx Post.
In a world where the quality of information available to poorer communities is doctored, tainted, and sometimes regressive, where the words fake news have come to mean other people's opinions, it is vital to rely on news platforms with journalists who have feet on the ground and can report the truth. New York Parrot, a New York-based national and global news outlet, is changing the narratives of media operations. We focus on the news that matters, like self-empowerment, entrepreneurship, finances, health, security, politics, and more. We strive to curb violence, racial and economic discrimination, and to promote peace and socio-economic development of multiculturally diverse world. As we give voice to the people, we also give your business a voice and make it heard. Get your products and services off the ground by advertising on our fast-growing platform. With so much of daily visits to New York Parrot, you can't afford to be invisible to prospective clients on the websites they trust the most. Our posts reach millions of people across the New York State and around the world. Advertising on our news site will unlock an audience of thousands of potential customers on your doorstep. New York Parrot is born to prosperously speak tomorrow for the voiceless.
Okay, welcome back. Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York City, under extraordinary pressure from friends and fellow billionaires to do more to help Vice President Harris, recently donated $50 million to a nonprofit organization that is supporting a presidential run, according to 4 people with knowledge of the matter. The donation followed months of arm twisting from associates such as Bill Gates, investor Ron Conway, and Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn. Mr. Bloomberg recently spoke with Ms. Harris in a private phone call, according to 2 people who briefed on the conversation. His decision conforms to a strategy that has become his trademark, confounding Democratic operatives by refusing to make early investments, only to come out hot and heavy in a home stretch. But unlike his previous big gifts, this one was intended to be kept under wraps, and the secrecy has made unaware Democrats more anxious than they have been most times. His contribution was made to Future Forward USA Action, the dark money vehicle of Future Forward, Ms. Harris's main super PAC. Bloomberg is 82 years old and has an estimated worth of $105 billion. This is the second largest disclosed individual donor to Democrats in this election cycle after investor and philanthropist George Soros. Let's move to Governor Kathy Hochul and how many seats that she wants flipped in New York Congress, in the New York Congressional District. She said on Wednesday, Democrats will flip at least 3 House seats in New York, a subtle acknowledgement that the party is unlikely to flip at least some of the GOP-held swing seats Democrats' coordinated campaign is currently targeting. Minimum 3, Hochul said, adding that she expects Democrats to win more than you think in next week's election. A year ago, Hochul said Democrats would pick up 5 seats during the 2024 cycle. The seats she targeted was Nick Leota, 1st Congressional District, Anthony Esposito, 4th, Mike Lawler, 17th, Mark Mariano, 19th, and Brandon Williams in the 22nd. Hochul was exactly mum on which 3 seats she believed was still flippable, but polling and the partisan lean of districts suggest that the party's best bet to grow its ranks is Laura Gillian in the 4th, Congressional District, Josh Riley in the 19th, and State Senator John Mannion in the 22nd Congressional District. Recent polls show John Avalon trailing Leota in the 1st Congressional District and Mondaire Jones trailing Lawler in the 17th Congressional District. As far as Proposition 1, Governor Hochul is deploying aggressive rhetoric to boost the so-called Equal Rights Amendment as supporters fear efforts for the measure are falling short. The governor over the weekend called opponents of the proposed amendment the forces of darkness. They're trying to scare us and say these things that are going to happen if you pass this. She said during a rally with Democrats in Yonkers, don't let them win. Do not let darkness win over light. Don't let evil win over good. Critics of the amendment received more than $6 million in a last-minute fundraiser and last-minute funding from a beer ad that helped pay for a TV ad to slam the proposal. The spot charged the amendment will enable non-citizen voting, give illegals a constitutional right to taxpayer benefits. The message dovetails with the Republican claims that the amendment would also enable trans people to play in girls' sports. The forces opposing Proposition 1, the measure in question, were also buoyed last week when the editorial board of Newsday urged its Long Island readership to vote against the referendum. Now, as far as the Working Families Party, this is an interesting year for them, but the Progressive Third Party now faces its most important task remaining on the ballot. Party leaders are organizing across the state to make sure they get enough votes in November's general election to meet the state's third party status. Every 2 years, the Working Families Party and other parties in New York need to secure either 2% of the total vote cast for president or governor or 130,000 votes, whichever is greater. If they fail to reach that threshold, they will lose their ballot line. The threshold was always so high until 2019. The Working Families Party and other third parties only needed 50,000 votes every 4 years. But under Governor Andrew Cuomo, the Public Campaign Finance Commission increased the threshold, a move to be rumored to be payback for the WFP decision to endorse Cynthia Nixon that year instead of Cuomo during the 2018 gubernatorial primary. Your vote is important. We need you to come out. New York WFP co-executive director Jasmine Gripper said the party's strength is centered in New York, and the Working Family Party leaders were out in Brooklyn on the first day of early voting Saturday, holding a rally outside early voting poll site in Brooklyn. When you go to the poll, into that voting booth, we want you to look at your ballot, look for Working Families Party, vote across their WFP ballot line, she said to voters at the rally. However, an even more complicated situation is in the 17th Congressional District, where Republican Anthony Francone won the Working Families Party nomination over Mondaire Jones during the party's June primary. So the WFP is asking voters not to vote for their candidate on their line, but vote for Jones on the Democratic line. So that's going to be really complicated if you're in the 17th Congressional District. Now let's go on to the contested seats here in the Assembly. In New York City, the contested Senate seats are the 11th Senate seat in Queens, the 17th District in Central and South Brooklyn, the 23rd District in Staten Island, 26th District downtown Brooklyn and Park Slope. That's the Senate. As far as the Assembly, the 23rd Assembly District in Queens, 40th Assembly District in Queens, 46th Assembly District in South Brooklyn. And as far as the Bronx goes, there are no contested state Senate or Assembly races. Here in the Bronx, in 2016, then State Senator Ruben Diaz Sr., even before the election, announced that he was running for city council in the next year. He received 95% of the vote in that 2016 election. There is no ranked choice voting this year. It is only for city elections. So let's see which Democrat can break 90% this year here in the Bronx. Now, a state law that has allowed New York City to padlock hundreds of suspected illegal cannabis shops is unconstitutional, a Queens judge said in a bombshell ruling Tuesday. Judge Kevin J. Kerrigan ruled that the mandate, which grants the city sheriff office authority to keep illicit cannabis sellers shuttered after they've been raided, violates the store owner's rights to due process. The city used a provision to back its enforcement power. Mayor Eric Adams vaulted Operation Padlock to Protect, which officials say has resulted in more than 1,200 shops being shuttered. Shop owners can appeal their closures in administrative courts, but under the law, the sheriff has the final call to determine which raided store can stay open and which must remain closed for up to a year. The decision validates what we've been arguing since the statute was enacted. Mayor Adams, the city council, and the sheriff has violated the due process rights of every store owner that's been shut down by the New York City Sheriff's Office, said Attorney Lance Lazaro, who represents Cloud Corner, a Queens shop shut down on allegations of selling weed without a license last month. He predicted the ruling, which calls for his client's store to reopen, could allow others targeted in Operation Padlock to sue for astronomical damages. The city of New York should be ashamed for allowing this process to happen in the first place, he said. How would Mayor Adams feel if his due process rights were violated in his pending criminal mandate? The store at Kerrigan's ruling, Cloud Corner, incorporated as ASA 456 Corporation, admitted to containing cannabis, but successfully argued at their oath hearing and now in Queens Supreme Court that the sheriff's raid was conducted outside of business hours, and therefore the inspection could not have concluded that pot was being offered for sale. The sheriff's order for the store to remain shuttered could only be characterized as arbitrary and capricious. Mayor Adams says the city is going to continue shutting down suspected illicit smoke shops despite the Queens judge ruling. Let me quickly go into the Office of City Controller's dashboards for the Department of Correction. As far as it goes, the DOC housed 6,530 individuals as of October 1st, 27 more people than in the previous month. 1,953 individuals entered their custody in September, 102 fewer people than the previous month. The DOC discharged 1,848 people in September, 140 fewer than the previous month. The average length of stay of a person in DOC custody was 96 days in September, one fewer than the previous month. The correction officer to ratio is at 0.92 as of September, down from a peak of 2.45 in May 2020. The ratio has steadily declined over time and remains below 1 since March 2024. 6% of the staff were out sick in September, no change from the previous month. 5% of the staff was out on medically restricted leave in September, no change from the previous month. 1,784 incidents involving the use of force occurred in the fourth quarter, 22 fewer than in the third quarter. Incidents of violence in September, 53 assaults on staff, 19 fewer than the previous month. 30 slashing and stabbings occur, 11 more than the previous month. 649 fights, 65 more than the previous month. Now, as I am about to close this show, I have a few more items. City officials confirmed that Jesse Hamilton, the Adams administration official in charge of city leases, who vacationed last month with a top broker for Cushman & Wakefield, approved 3 multi-million-dollar leases arranged by that real estate firm. And it's reported that Jesse Hamilton was the official who approved a South Bronx program or land grab that netted this broker that went with him to Japan $13.1 million commission. And as far as subway surfing, drone footage released by the New York City Police Department shows subway surfing for joy atop trains. As Mayor Adams insisted, cameras in the sky saved 114 Daredevil lives this year, despite a tragic 6 fatalities. Now, let me go into my last item here, and I will close the show afterwards. As I mentioned last week about quorum, well, for its full board meeting this month on Wednesday, CB11 met quorum with 26 members in person and at least 1 online. So that's 27 out of 41 members, and soon that will be 40 members after Election Day, when Judge Eliza Rodriguez steps down from Community Board 11. In my 2 minutes, I said that my ethics complaint was not against Borough President Gibson. The liquor license on the agenda was in Community Board 12, not in Community Board 11. And I corrected the July 2024 minutes, the election results, where 5 out of the 6 tolls were wrong. All I can say is that experience counts. And I will continue to update you on the dysfunction of Community Board 11. I want to thank you for watching tonight or today. I hope to see you next week, live at 12 p.m. or anytime at YouTube at the link provided on my Facebook pages, 100%, what is going on in your neighborhood, and many other Facebook pages. So thank you for watching today, and I hope to see you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official launch of the Bronx Post, your premier source for news and information in the Bronx. As the CEO of Muslim Media Corporation, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Bronx Post, our latest endeavor dedicated to serving the vibrant and diverse community of the Bronx.
Oftentimes, mainstream media portray this county in the most negative way possible, all because Bronx continued to be judged in the 70s and 80s when Bronx was burning. Today, as we enter the Small Business Month of 2024, Muslim Media Corporation is proud to announce the formation and the creation and establishment of a new newspaper that will cover the entire Bronx, continue to highlight the new Bronx, the new realities and the new developments and the new attributes of the Bronx. Some things that are not being covered by, again, our mainstream media. Bronx Post, the first county-wide newspaper to be published by Muslim Media Corporation that has already been publishing Parkchester Times.
We aim to be your trusted source for information. We believe in the power of journalism to inform, inspire, and unite communities. With the Bronx Post, we seek to amplify the voice of Bronxites, celebrate the richness of our culture, and shed light on the issues that impact our lives.
Changing Bronx deserves a changing narrative. And the Bronx Post, which will be launched in May in commemoration of Small Business Month, will highlight that which Bronxites have been yearning for mainstream media to highlight. So, to all my fellow New Yorkers, particularly my fellow Bronxites, join us, patronize us, read us, and follow us, so that you will be extremely proud of the addition of news reporting that highlights the new realities of the Bronx.
Together, let's make the Bronx Post the heartbeat of our borough. The Bronx Post, changing the reality, changing the narrative.
Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time.